What's up, guys? Joe Hopkins here. I'm starting a new series. This is Joe's Rock and Roll Movie Reviews. So, what should I start it with? I decided to rewatch the movie Almost Famous. So, crack a beer, watch a movie. It's all good, man. Almost Famous came out in the year 2000. I liked it then. I like it now. So, it follows this story of this kid, William Miller. Beginning of the movie, his older sister's all angsty and upset like teenagers get. Mom's holding us back. She's too oppressive. Oh my God, I gotta rock and roll. All that stuff. So like late 1960s. I think it starts out in 68 or 69. 69, I think. A couple years later, when big sister leaves, she leaves William all of her old rock and roll records. And apparently he really, really likes them. He likes rock and roll. And he's a smart kid, He's kind of young. He bumped up a couple grades, so he's with the older kids. Fast forward a couple years. He's in his senior year of high school at the age of 15 because he's a smart kid, Looking to be a lawyer. And he's a good writer, though. And he loves rock and roll, loves music, starts writing about rock and roll, like rock and roll journalism, that kind of stuff, music writing. So he's writing for his school paper and local stuff and sends his work to bigger people out there, bigger fish. And you reach the point in the movie where, this rather seasoned veteran music writer and critic gets, he runs into this guy and he likes William's work. He tells him, he pretty much encourages him. Discourages, encourages, kind of. It's that part's played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, or I forget his name. Seymour Philip Hoffman is one of them kind of names. Anyway, you know the guy. So he kind of encourages, discourages him, kind of thing there, kind of cool and all that. And this kid, he goes off on his first gig. This rock and roll writer veteran gives him a job for Cream magazine, his first gig to go and write about Black Sabbath. And he doesn't get backstage to interview Black Sabbath, but he does run into a band called Stillwater and one of their groupies, or Band-Aids, as they called themselves. And, boy meets girl, coming of age. You know the thing, right? Obviously, these are going to be the main characters. This girl, Penny Lane, and William, you can tell it's going to be like a love thing, right? So he meets this girl, meets the band, and, figures he's going to write something about them. Next thing you know, he gets an offer from Rolling Stone magazine to write a piece. And he says, what about this band Stillwater? I'm doing a piece on them. And they agree. They give him, offer to pay him and, put him up with the band, pay his way to go on tour with them. He somehow gets his mom to agree with it. Next thing you know, him and the girl, Penny, that he has his eyes on, are, touring with the band, and he's writing pieces. And of course, there's a lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, obviously. Great soundtrack, by the way. Movie has an excellent soundtrack. So anyway, Penny's like, she's kind of a groupie. She's like banging everybody. But he still really digs her, So they're following the band, and he gets to be friends with the band members, which, his mentor there, that seasoned rock and roll writer, told him not to do. They're not your friends, But he ends up really liking these guys, and they really like him. So, enjoying a beer. I was drinking with the movie, beer and like some buttered popcorn. Anyway, they really, these guys end up friends. And he's following them around. Hijinks ensue, craziness. It actually is a pretty good look at inside a real touring, working rock and roll band. It's not too far off the truth as far as that's concerned. And I think the story's supposed to be like based on something true, but I don't even worry about that. Based on a true story is a bunch of bunk anyway, man. It's all fiction, right? Everything's fiction. Everything in the world. Even the news. So anyway, he's following this band, sees a bunch of stuff, hangs out with them. You know, one of my favorite scenes, they're in the airplane and they think the plane's going to crash and they all start, like, you know, confessing their sins to each other. And, you know, it's just, that's a good scene. That's the point at which you think this band's breaking up. They don't, but, you know. So he writes his piece, and, you know, after he finally gets, you know, has done this crazy trip with these guys, misses his graduation, his mom's upset. But he finally gets to write his piece, and the band, you know, when Rolling Stone checks with them to see, you know, fact-checking it, they deny the whole thing, right? Obviously, because he's writing a bunch of really crazy stuff that they do on the road, and they don't want to admit to any of it. I don't want to give the ending away. He ends up getting his story. And, you know, the guitarist in the band is also, you know, Penny Lane is in love with him, but also in love with William. And at the end, I don't know. Nobody gets her. Nobody gets her. The writer and the guitar player kind of end up getting each other, I guess. It's a nice ending. I liked it. I mean, honestly, if you haven't seen this movie, you should. I shouldn't be spoiling too much for anybody. If you haven't seen it, even if I spoiled it, even if I gave up some spoilers, right? You should watch it. Good movie. Fucking great soundtrack, man. One of the best soundtracks out there. Really great music. They got all the best rock and roll from the 70s. It's really good stuff. So anyway, wanted to give you guys a lowdown on it. If you like rock and roll movie reviews, tell me in the comments. I'll do some more. I don't mind sitting there watching a flick about, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, man. That's some good stuff. So, watch Almost Famous. I watched it on Amazon. If you got Amazon Prime, they got it free with commercials, right? I did have to sit through a couple. It wasn't a lot of commercials. Couple commercials. Got to watch it for free with the commercials. So, okay. And I mean, that's a little odd because I have Prime. I shouldn't have to watch the commercials. But anyway, definitely a good movie. Really good look at a touring band. You know, like a professional big-time rock and roll band. Really, really neat, man. I've been around a lot of musicians and music-type people in my day, and definitely accurate stuff as far as, you know, lifestyle and all that. Really, really fun to watch. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it back when it came out, man. It came out in 2000. I enjoyed it back then, and I enjoyed it again now. So, crack a beer and watch a good rock and roll movie with some good tunes and a little bit of nudity. Not a lot. It's not a movie with a lot of nudity, but a little bit. But it's a really good movie. Good story, good acting. Just an excellent little watch. About 2 hours. Schedule about 2 hours plus with the commercials. You know, it's just over 2 hours. But definitely worth a watch. So, love you guys. See you next time. Peace out, baby.